Well, hey, everybody, glad to be back with you again. And today's big question on our topic is how long does it take to be successful? So, is there like a perfect answer, David?
Yes, there's like a 60 days max. Like
That's
no,
right.
like
Man, I missed the boat on that.
yeah, I think we all did. I think we all blew straight past that deadline. But
Yeah, but
but
this is an
but I
important
think it's
topic, right? We've kind of been touching around this lately. I
right.
even did another Facebook Live recently about something similar, and we had talked about this offline, just how expectations of success and as far as timing is something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. And, especially when you're starting your business, what you expect or hope for versus what is reality. And so I think it must be a relevant topic. I'll just say that.
Well, I agree because I think we even were joking the other day, Chris. Like if we had known when we started this journey how long it would take, how much work we were going to put in,
Right.
for an extended period of time before things started taking off, we probably would have said, I don't know, is this really what I want to do or not?
Right.
Because we all start off in the same place. Every person starts off in the place of like, I want to do this and I want to be successful. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna start having this right away. It's just
Yeah.
all gonna take off. It's all gonna go. And we're all excited about the end. We just
Yeah.
want to jump. It's like you're reading the first chapter of the book.
Yeah.
And you want to jump to the end of the story. And
Vision and enthusiasm get you started, right?
right,
But
exactly.
it's not what keeps you going.
Right, correct. And the reality is, any good movie, any good story in a book, or anything, a good story that you really enjoy, that you really love, never is, I started and I won. I mean, but that's never the story,
Right.
right?
And yet
There's
that's what
all
we expect when we start a business sometimes,
exactly.
or
That's
many times.
exactly what we're hoping for and exactly what we're expecting and exactly what we're doing. And we're all like, I'm just going to go from zero straight to 100 and this is going to be incredible and amazing. And voila,
Mhm.
here we go. I'm going to kill it. And this is going to be, this most amazing thing. And I'm going to start. And, and then, we just get going on this journey and we realize there's a lot more to it than just flipping a switch and watching the money roll in,
Right.
and all of a sudden there's a lot of things that have to get done. And then you're like, well, wait, now all of a sudden that didn't go according to plan. Now I have to
Right.
go come up with another plan
Yep.
and all of these things. So what really is a reasonable time? Like what at some point we all have to face the reality that at some point certain things are not going to happen.
Right.
So there is this balance point. Like, how long do you stay in this? How long do
Mhm.
you stay in the fight? Is there a time where you have to look at it and go, yeah, I think I need to cut bait because I think this is officially not happening.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think, in my opinion, people do too easily. And
Yeah.
I think I see this a lot with people is they'll try an idea and they'll give it a shot for a few weeks
Mhm.
and they don't get immediate success and then they quit.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what happens to most people is most people will sit there and say, well, if this didn't, if I posted about it on social media and I immediately didn't get a bunch of clients,
Yeah.
it must be a bad idea.
Well, and on top of that, I think that one thing that's not taken into consideration by a lot of people is the amount of effort during a certain period of time. Because you and I have talked about this too. Like if you're building something in a part-time capacity, like as a side gig, as you're maybe working a full-time job or have other family responsibilities or whatever, your day is not the same as somebody going 100% full tilt day in and day out for the same amount of time, right? So time and effort have to go hand in hand. And so, if you're doing this, and many people start, right, as this is an idea, it's a vision I have, but I have to work at it before I go to work or after I I get home from work or after the kids go to bed or whatever it may be. So I think that it's also important to keep in mind that perspective in this is that just because days pass doesn't mean that the same effort has been given. And that's true in every business, right? Like, if you even in your if somebody's working a full-time day job, two people don't work the exact same effort every day, and yet and businesses don't have the exact same effort every day. So it's like to compare yourself to an Amazon when you're a small, storefront in your community. Amazon is doing a whole lot of different effort and activity than you are, and that's okay. But to expect Amazon results, is not realistic. So I think that's part of this as well, is that time is a factor, and you have to give yourself time. And I've shared this story many times that when I first started my business, I had this older, wiser guy who I didn't like what he said to me. He was 30 years older, and he's like, "Chris, you got a great vision, but just be prepared. It's going to take 3 to 4 years for you to really start to realize that vision the way you want." And I did not like that. I didn't want to hear that. And I was like, my personality is I'm going to show him, right? Like that was what I thought. And yet, what was funny?
That old guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right. He has no clue what he's talking about. And you know what? It was just over. Let's see. That was like fall of 2015. My big breakthrough contract that I got with a company was like December of 2019. In those 4 years between those dates, I had small wins. I had some, some new clients along the way, but I just wasn't getting that traction. But I hit that big contract that ended up being a 6-figure multi-year contract that, really got my business going at the level that I envisioned back in 2015.
Right.
So 4+ years, right? Like he told me, I didn't like it, but was he wrong? No. But I had to learn a lot along the way, and that's what I think we want to dive into today.
Right. And so I think there's a lot of factors that go into this answer, because at the end of the day, there isn't an answer. There isn't a day or a number of days or a number of weeks or months.
No matter what people tell you on the internet.
No, it isn't. I mean, anybody who tells you can have a business up and running and making money in 30 days or 60 days, I mean, they're just selling you crap. They're selling you a bunch of stuff to try and get you to buy. And because here's some of the factors that are going to determine it. The first thing you have to do is, what do you define as success? You need to answer that question for yourself. And that sounds like, well, what do you mean? Well, look, success is not a hard defined thing. Success is defined by each individual. So let's say for you, success might be having 3 clients in the next 3 months. I think that may be something that you're looking at and going, that would be amazing if I had 3 clients to work with. The next person may say, oh, no, I want 30 clients in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
That would be successful for me. Hold on. Sorry. Sneeze was like,
I can see it coming.
That sneeze was just like sitting on the edge for a while, and I'm like going, uh-oh. So, but then the next person may say, no, I have to have 100 clients for this to be worth my while in 3 months. So what do you define as success? And is that a reasonable number?
Yeah.
Is that a reasonable level? Because one of the things that we run into all the time is people say, well, I'm going to be successful with this. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to have like 30 clients by next week. Okay. What do you have in place to make that happen? Well, nothing yet. Yeah. I'm like going, okay, well, I'm not saying you can't get 30 clients, but I don't know that it may be happening next week.
Right.
So
you're kind of setting yourself up for disappointment then, right?
Correct. Absolutely. And here's the other part of this is that, like, the next part of it is, okay, so what actually is considered success for you on that side? On the other side is, where are you starting from?
Yeah.
Because some people are starting with no knowledge, no expertise, have never done this before. This is a brand new thing that they're doing in their life, and this is a brand new adventure. Other people who have started other businesses in the past and have already had a lot of success and know a lot of things about starting and running a business. And all of a sudden this can be like, well, wait, I'm already starting 10 steps down the path.
Right.
This is not new for me. I'm just starting a different business.
Yeah.
And you may have existing clients from another business that you can market to and sell to. You already may have a big following on social media. You may, all of those factors play in. If you start with no following, no email list, no current client base, and you're starting a new business, that's going to take longer to start having things come your way than it is if you start with a big email list, a big social media following, and already some existing clients from another business. I mean, that all
Right.
plays into it as well. And then the next thing is like, how much time can and will you invest?
Yeah.
Because we see this too, is like people are wanting to come in and like, well, I want to be successful. How much did you work on it this week? Oh, I didn't get to it this week. Okay. And we pushed everything out one week because
Right.
we made zero progress towards our goal this week.
Right.
And if you don't have, if like I said, especially if you're in the land of you're just getting started, which is where at some point every one of us has to start there.
Correct.
None of us come out of the womb with 10 years of business experience. It doesn't
Right.
work that way. We all have to start at the beginning. And you may not be in the beginning now, but you at one point you had to start at the beginning. And so, how much time are you willing to put in there to speed up your education, to speed up your skill building, to speed up the knowledge that you can acquire
Yeah.
so you learn how to do this?
Mhm.
Because as we've talked about in the past, the entrepreneur is the person who has to pay all the bills and manage the finances. They have to make the sales. They have to make the website work. They have to handle customer service inquiries. They have to go out and do all the tech stuff that has to be done. They have to go out and be on social media to try and build audiences.
Yeah.
How is this all going to work if and it's going to take time. And so based on your current experience level, your skill set, how hard you're willing to work. And then the last thing I say is, how coachable are you?
Yeah.
Because anyone can learn how to do this. You really can't. I mean, we've seen some people that I've looked at and I was like, I don't know if they really got what it takes, but doggone it, they kept their head down, they kept learning, they kept building skills, they're very coachable. They
Yeah.
followed what we were telling them to do, and son of a gun, all of a sudden they have clients. And I'm going, that's just proof that
Yeah.
if you are willing to learn and if you are coachable and you would listen to somebody who has done it before, this can happen for you.
Well, I think that, there's a poster I saw of, I think it was Derek Jeter years ago, where it was like, it was basically to the idea of basically don't let anyone outwork you, right? Like, you don't have to have the best talent. There's a lot of talented, unsuccessful people in the world because they've rested on their laurels of their talent, and they've let their talent, kind of just be the only thing that they're depending on. And so even if people have a talent, have an ability, have a vision and a skill set, doesn't mean they're going to be successful without the effort and that they're putting into it. And so I think when it comes to this, right, is we see people who, David, I thought about this way, looking at myself years ago when I first, actually before I met you, but around the time I met you, I you was looking up to people who were successful, ahead of me. And I thought, I hope I get there someday, right? Like I was kind of admiring their success. And then within a couple years of being around a lot of those people, I had passed them. And I was confused for a while because I was like, how did the people I was looking up to get behind me? But what I realized was for me, it wasn't giant leaps. It was incremental, day by day, week by week, month by month effort and just continuing to put in the work, learning, growing, and implementing. Where a lot of people, they kind of stopped or they were resting on, hey, I got to a certain level, and then that became, like they'd hit kind of that glass ceiling where they weren't progressing anymore. And I think we see it in our clients too, right? Is that the people that show up to like our weekly calls and say, this week I'm going to work on these 4 things. And then the next week they come back and it's like, okay, I did that. Now I'm going to work on these things. Or they're asking, what should I do next? And we help them navigate those next steps. It may not feel fast, right? And it isn't fast, but what it is progress. And I think a lot of us want speed over progress. And yet we don't understand that the speed doesn't just automatically happen without the things you've just talked about is, how much time and energy you're going to put into it. How much time can you put into it? And, for instance, my wife, she's a teacher, and there's a website called Teachers Pay Teachers where teachers actually sell resources that they create to other teachers. And she had this idea a year or so ago to create her own site. But then the school year interfered. She set it up, and then the school year last year hit, And then guess what? This summer came around and she dove into it again, started doing training, started learning the platform, learning all these things, and got her site up. And the other day she said, "Hey, I got my first sale."
Wow.
Now that didn't seem monumental, right? On the one level, because it wasn't like thousands of dollars, but that first sale feels good, right?
But
That
it
first
feels like
sale
it
is big.
worked,
It
right?
worked, right? But she was delayed ultimately, if I look at it, about a year from when she really wanted to do this to when she really got it going. But it was because of our life, right? I mean, last year was our son's senior year of high school. She was teaching full time. There's all these family and work responsibilities that, so if she would have just said, well, this is too slow, well, no, she basically kind of, paused and then got back to it and had a more of an intensive burst this summer. And now she's starting to see the results of that. And I think for a lot of people, we want things to happen quickly, but we're not taking into consideration how much effort, for me, I've thought about it when thought about years ago, even in writing my first book, I remember saying, if I'm going to get this book done, I need to block out. The way I did it was 90 minutes a day before I went to work, and I just kept writing 90 minutes a day. And I wrote my first book in about 45 days, I think, is what I figured out. In an hour and a half segments, I wrote my first book. And then I figured out that system worked. So when I wrote my second book, I actually wrote that one in like 14 days because I was really motivated and cranking it out. But it was because I had learned a system but from the first time. But my reality was I didn't know that the first time.
Mhm.
And so it took me longer. The second time was quicker. And some people say my first time was quick, and that's true in some ways compared to others. Some people say, "Oh, you can write a book in a weekend." Well, that was not me, and I don't know that it'll ever be me. And but the bottom
But I
line is,
think the qualifier on that is, can you write a quality book in a weekend?
well, that's what I was gonna say.
I mean, I've told people I can sit here and just put something of weight on a letter on my keyboard and walk away, and that thing will just keep generating lines and lines of text, but it's all nonsense and garbage. But at the
Right,
end,
just
I
slap
get
a
lots
cover
of
on it.
pages of content. Right.
The one letter that'll change your life,
Yeah.
and you just keep it for 75 pages.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, literally, that's where I get questioning some of those. Is
Right,
like,
right,
okay, you got it written, but is it any good? Like, is there
right.
any value in this
Well, and
thing?
the reality is, right, even after writing it, like in my case, right, it took me those days to write it, but then it took me months for editing, for getting the cover design, for getting it published, and all the things that I need to do. So the process took much longer than those days of writing it. That was just the draft, right, and the manuscript. So I say all that because I think once again it goes back to time and effort have to be working together, and that helps, you know, and being coachable, like you said. Like, are you willing to get the help and do what somebody said? Because I think I've shared on this show before where I had a woman in our community. She wanted to start a business. She actually has started it. I'll give her credit. She started her business, but she wanted help with a strategy on some things. And I sat down with her, and literally she looked at me, David, and said, "Well, I don't like that." And I was like, "Well, you don't have to like it, but you've got to do these things if you're going to build a business." And her business is not, she started, right? Her business is not really going yet. And until she becomes more coachable and humble about that, she's not going to have success the way she envisions. Now, can she have that success? I think she probably could if she, once again, did it the right way. But you've got to get to that place of going, okay, I don't know it all. I need to be coachable and teachable. And then and when I do those things, others know what I should do. Then I'll start to see the results.
Right. And I agree with all that. And effort is going to make a huge difference. But then the next part of this is, do you have a good roadmap for
Yeah.
your effort?
Doing the right effort.
Right. Because here's the thing is like, and I've thought about this before. Like, if I gave you a GPS and I put you in a car and I said, here, Chris, you're in Ohio. I want you to go to this location at this house in South
Make it
Carolina,
warm. Okay.
right?
Thank you. You sent
South
me in the right
Carolina.
direction.
So we're going to go to South Carolina, and you plug the address into the GPS and you start driving. You're going to get there with absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
You're just going to follow the directions. You're going to go step by step. You're going to go through the journey and you're going to get there. But what if I said, okay, Chris, here's this address. You have no access to a GPS. You have no access to any directions.
Good
And it's
luck.
like it's a residential address. So it's not like it's a main street, you know,
Right.
and I say, okay, go get in the car and try and find it. All you know is it's somewhere in South Carolina.
Yeah, I could get to the state,
Right,
but
but
then
but
I'm
this is with no roadmap,
yeah.
with no directions, with no step-by-step guidance, you could
Mhm.
literally spend the rest of your life
Trying to
wandering
find
around trying to figure out where this place is.
yeah.
And I know that sounds like, well, why would you ever do that? Well, okay, now let me flip it. Why would you ever try and start a business
Mhm.
without a good set of directions, without a
Yeah.
good set of guidance, without some structure around you to know this is what I need to do first, second, third, fourth. These are the things I need to build. These are the things I need to do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you could literally, and this is what I see all the time
Yeah.
from entrepreneurs, is they say, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to do it all by myself and I'm just going to figure it out. And this is why 90+% of these efforts go up in smoke
Yeah.
because they have no idea what they're doing. They have no plan. They have no strategy and they have no direction for it. They don't have a success plan laid out in front of them. Again, if they had a GPS that told them first step to build your business is this, second step is do that, they could get there.
Mhm.
They could do this thing. But
Yeah.
without that, again, literally, and because you think about how many streets are there, how many different directions could you
Right.
could literally spend the rest of your life trying to find that address and
Right.
never get there.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for your business. You could spend the rest of your life trying to figure out how to make a business successful, but
Yeah.
unless you have a plan that is not only a plan, but is a proven plan that will work, because there's a lot of nonsense plans out there too.
Sure.
A lot of people selling scammy plans that don't work.
Yeah.
A plan that is proven again and again to be working, a plan that is built on a solid foundation, you
Yeah.
can absolutely get there. And you
Yeah.
can have that, but you have to have direction and guidance on how to go for each step of the journey.
And what's interesting is so many people that we do come across when they start a business, there's an urgency of I've got to make money quick.
Right.
And yet at the same time, they leave themselves wandering without getting the help to get there quicker. Once again, this process, even if you have the coaching and the training that you need and the skill development tools, it still takes time. But
Right.
without the help of a coach, without the help of that roadmap that you're talking about, you can wander, you can get discouraged, you can quit easily. And yet so many people, it's like, I've got to make money now. I got to make money now. And I remember early on thinking that was, I was trying to start my business fast and get fast results. And I had this, and that pressure alone adds a layer of complexity. And then when you realize I don't know this part and I got to learn that, and I don't know this part, so I need to learn that, and I don't know this. So, you know, we need that help. If you coaches, trainers can fast track your success when you are coachable, when you truly do the plan. And sometimes, David, there's people who, even if they have the coaching and training, they still want to like jump around and they don't even want to follow the plan. It's kind of like telling your GPS, I don't want to go that road. I want to go this road because it looks nicer. Well, guess what? You can do that, but it's going to
You
work
can.
to reroute you, and you're taking yourself, in that case, from Ohio down to South Carolina. Well, I could end up in Arkansas.
Right.
I could still get back to South Carolina,
It's going
but
to take
it's
a lot longer.
I've made my trip about 8 hours longer.
Right. Right. And yeah, I mean, exactly. If you're not going to listen to the map, you're not going to follow the map, and you're just going to be stubborn, like you said with that lady that you met with. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, okay,
Right.
this is going to take a lot longer for you because you're ignoring the GPS and going off on your
Well,
own
what's crazy,
journey.
like with her, I was like, you know what? Instantly, as a coach,
Mhm.
I was like, then fine, do it your own way,
Right,
because I'm not
right,
going to argue her into
right,
submission, right? I'm not going to argue her into doing it the right way. She's going to have to fall down, skin her knees, bump her head, whatever, analogy you want to say, until she realizes, hey, there are things I need to do that I just can't avoid. Even I mean, she literally thought that just because I'm going to set my business up, I'm going to be successful. Um, And it just doesn't work that way, right? I mean, it's that whole, you don't just, it's not an if you build it, they will come thing. Like that movie, as much as you and I probably love that movie, that message is
Well, that may have been
it,
true. That may have been true of business 100 years ago. Like if you build a good business in a community, but that was like a physical location, you built a good business
right.
and you had good products that people needed, and then they would come to you because they needed that. The world of business has shifted, and now there's
Yeah.
businesses around every corner and all
Right.
over the place online. There's always offers being made. So that
Yeah. If
that
you're
no
the only
longer
hardware store in town, guess what? You're probably going to have
right,
success.
right. And we've long ago left that in the dust. We were long
Mhm.
ago. Now customers have all sorts of options, and just because you built it absolutely does not mean they will come.
Right.
So, and then the last thing I would add in here is having a trusted advisor. And this is something that, you know, the GPS is exactly what you need to get you on the path. But here's the thing is that not everyone has the same experience. Not everyone is building the same business. And so
Mhm.
there's going to be variances in the process as you're doing these things. And not everything is going to go, well, I want to build a business like this. Okay. Well, that means we need to modify things. We need to make a few tweaks. There's going to be unexpected twists and turns because of your specific circumstances. There's going to be things going on. And you're going to want to do things a certain way based on what your business needs are. And we're going to sit here and all of a sudden you're going to go, well, I don't know what to do now because now I'm confused because unexpected events have happened, unforeseen circumstances have happened. And I'm like, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to fix it. And this is
Right.
just something that's not a statement against you or on you or about you as much as it is just your experience level at that point in the
Right.
trade. And I cannot tell you some of the best things I've ever done in my life is to find people who are more successful than me in business and spend time with them and become friends with them.
Isn't
Because
isn't your T-shirt even part of one of the groups you were
yes,
in one time?
this is from so this is a celebration T-shirt. It says top one, and this was a group that I joined and still have good friends from there. That top one actually stood for the top 1% of all online marketers in the world. So there was a mastermind group that was only interested in you joining. Like if you didn't have a seven-figure business, they wouldn't even talk to you. They were
Yeah.
not even gonna. They were not even
It
gonna.
wasn't for you.
You were not even considered to be a member because you were not qualified.
Yeah.
So, and we went in and had to go through this interview process, and I became part of it. But yes, it was this top 1%. That's what top one is about. It's a top 1% of all marketers, online marketers in the world. And I got to meet amazing people. And I had conversations with them, and they would look at me and go, why don't you try and do it that way? And all of a sudden, there's just like this light bulb moment. You go, what? I never thought of that. Like, wow, that is
Yeah.
so much better. I will save me so much headache. And or like, you should consider using that tool instead of the tool you're using because this tool will do it much better. And there's all of these things where you can sit here and you can try and spend months figuring it out on your own. You can try and beat your head into the wall, trying this idea and that idea. And then somebody that's got more experience than you walks beside you and goes, hey, do that instead.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you go, what?
Mhm.
Like my life just got 100 times easier because somebody came alongside of me, and I've had this so many times in my life, like with managing finances, with running my business, with my personal health, all
Yeah.
of these things. Again and again, I have brought people into my life, people who know more about these subjects than I do. In
Yeah.
this situation, I am the person that doesn't know as much.
Yeah.
They are the experts. And so I walk beside them and have them speak into my life, have them say those things to me so that I can go, wow,
Yeah.
that just shortcut my success.
Yeah.
Because this coach, this trainer, this advisor is now standing beside me with a whole new lens of
Yeah.
experience in this particular, because no one knows, none of us know everything. None of
Right.
us know all the lanes that we need to know in life. We know certain things about certain subjects. Like I used to, joke with Todd Brown. Said, yeah, we're kind of really experts in like two lanes of life. Like as long as we can talk about those two things in life, we're golden. But try and make me talk about that over there, and I'm completely
Well,
clueless.
yeah, and you know what's interesting? I think we've lost the art of apprenticeship in our culture, and in some, like the trades are, so my son, he's 16. He's at a career center. He shifted schools this year because he wants to go and become an electrician in his career. And this, it's the trade that really fascinates him, and he wants to pursue that. Well, even today, while we're talking, they're going on a field trip with his teacher and with his group to look at electrical facilities, and these are things that he didn't even know existed a month ago, right? These are things that before he started school, he's coming home talking about things now that, like, I have a very top of the waves kind of understanding or even knowledge that certain things exist in the electrician field. He is now at 16 learning these things from us, a certified electrician as his teacher, who's teaching him these skills and walking them through this over the course of his junior and senior year. And he's going to be able to leave school and have job opportunities and then apprentice under, experienced electricians and have a successful career if that's the path he continues on, right? I think that in online business in particular, or business in general, for some reason, I don't know what this is about us. We think that we're supposed to understand this when we haven't had any experience. And so we put pressure on ourselves. And, when I was an intern in college, when I was leaving one of my internship opportunities, a guy said, "Chris, don't ever stop being teachable."
Right.
Like that is a gift that he saw me as a teachable person. He said, "Don't stop being teachable." And I paid attention to that, but I didn't understand the value of that until later on of what we're talking about here, right? Is we just don't know what we don't know. And so we need to find those trusted advisors who are sometimes just 5 steps down the path from where we are. Sometimes this is the thing, David, we know this too, is if somebody's 100 steps down the path, they're too far ahead of you, so that in many cases where they forget what it's like to be where you are.
Right.
And so it's important
about things that you can't even imagine yet.
Right, right. If you've never done marketing and then you go talk to Todd Brown at Top One, he's gonna what he says, like I watch some of his videos and he's a
Right over
super
your
smart
head.
guy.
Right.
And there's things I'm like, I'm learning just language that he's using that I've never even heard anybody else talk about, right? Because he's so much farther down that path.
Right.
So I think we need to find people that are in a good space, those a few steps ahead of us that or at least remember or understand where we are. That's really critical.
I agree 100%. Yeah, if a new marketer went and started studying under Todd Brown, their brain would blow up.
Right.
Because there's no way that you could go from zero to him, because
Right.
that's his niche. His niche is working with the top level marketers, not the beginning entrepreneurs. That's not where he thrives. That's not where he focuses. So he does use a ton of terms and acronyms and special words that make total sense to me now. Like, I
Right.
get it all now, but back then I'd be like, "What?" I
Yeah,
had no
you
idea
you
what
got a
he was
learning curve, right? I mean, it's just
Right.
reality.
So, yeah, I would just, as we wrap this up today, all I would say is, you know, success, how fast? Because that was, how long does it take to be successful? Well, it kind of depends. Like, what is your dream and what is success for you?
Mhm.
How hard are you going to work at it? And where are you starting from?
Right.
Do you have a good plan? A plan that's proven to work? Because if you don't, well, then you can wander around in the darkness for years,
Right.
honestly, without a good plan. And do you have people around you who can speak into your life to guide you through the rough patches or guide you through those moments where you're confused? Because
Yeah.
this is the journey. You're going to try something and it didn't work, or you're going to try something else and it didn't work. And then you're going to be sitting there going, well, I don't know what else to do. Well, then someone else comes along and says, hey, try this instead. And suddenly it works now.
Yeah.
So how long it takes is going to depend on how serious you are about getting a really good plan,
Yeah.
committing yourself to do the work, and getting people around you who can speak into you to make a difference. And if you will do those things, your success path, your journey to success will be dramatically shortened.
Well, and I will say too that don't be fooled by the fallacy of true solopreneurship, because while you may have your own independent business as a quote unquote solopreneur, the most successful solopreneurs are not doing this by themselves. They're not hiding in a cave doing this by themselves, having no personal contact with anybody else. They're learning from coaches and advisors. They're studying other people. They're taking courses. They're being a part of things to learn and grow in their business. they're even if it's just a peer-to-peer thing where it's like, hey, let's just get together and touch base occasionally and kind of bounce ideas off each other. They're no person is truly successful by themselves.
Correct.
And we just need to understand that. Like, you can have a solopreneur business where you don't have a corporation, you don't have employees, you don't have a, big team of contractors even that work with you. You can do that, right? But you're going to still have to have people in your corner that are helping you along the way, learn new things or encourage you and support you. And that's why we create our Design Launch Grow program the way we did, is that we give you the training in video and even downloadable ways, but we also have weekly coaching calls to help you navigate your course and figure out where are you today and where do you need to go next. And then the community support of people that get what you're doing. They may not be doing the same topic or same lane that you're doing, but they understand the journey of entrepreneurship and the ups and downs, and they're there to support you and encourage you. And David, I was just doing a coaching call this week, and just two of our members just helping each other. Even in the middle of the call was just somebody said, hey, had you thought about this? Or, hey, guess what, our one client, she's coming up on a 5-year anniversary of her book launch, and we were like, hey, you need to really lean into that and make that a big deal, because that's an important step. But it was the community piece that was really important in that moment for her to realize, yeah, I need to capitalize on this. It's an opportunity for me with my business. And so, but without the people around you, you don't see those things in the midst of just the day-to-day grind. So if you guys need, help, if you want that support, if you need that proven roadmap, which is what we've created for coaches, course creators, and trainers, we've got 3 individual roadmaps that help you navigate these important critical steps. And we walk you through them step by step so that you can be successful and you're not skipping things and missing things along the way. So check out designlaunchgrow.com. We'd love to have you join the program. We'd love to have you learn more. We can obviously jump on a call if we need to chat with you to help you learn more about what we offer and how we might be able to help you. But David, I think this is just an important topic for what I think is about is managing expectations, right? Is understanding how much I can give, how much time I can give, how much effort, and what do I need in order to take this journey to be successful. So you're right. It's personal. It depends for everybody, but at the same time, we do have ways to control the speed of it by the actions we take, in effort and time investment. So any final words as we wrap up today?
No, that's really good. Like I said, that's why we built DLG the way we did. That's why we're doing what we're doing, because we know, because our mission is to help as many people as we possibly can be successful, and we know what it takes to get there. So, and that's why we built the program the way we did. So,
yeah. All right, folks. Well, we will see you next time. And until then, go out there and get some stuff done. If we can help you, let us know.